All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're connected from. You can hear me live and clear. Please just type 111 on the chat box. If you know you can hear me loud and clear, just type 111 on the chat box. You're welcome tonight. This is Felix. And then you can hear me loud and clear. Just type 111 on the chat box if you can hear me loud and clear. And if you can see my screen purely, just type 111 on the chat box. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. You can hear me loud and clear. Just type 1111 on the chat box. If you know you can hear me, thank you very much. You're welcome. You can hear me loud and clear. Type 111 on the chat box. Very well. Very well. You can hear me cool and clear and clear and clear. Just type 111 on the chat box. You can hear me loud and clear. Type 111 on the chat box. You can hear me loud and clear. Type 11111 on the chat box. You can hear me. You can hear me. Type 111 on the chat box. You can hear me. Type 111111 on the chat box. All right. You can hear me good and good. You can hear me good and good. Thank you. You're welcome, everybody. You good. You good. You good. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. Fantastic. Fantastic. Good evening. Happy New Week, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good morning. Good afternoon. Wherever you're connected from, this is Flix. Though you can hear me loud and clear. Type 1 on the chat box. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so we're in the weekly market update for our financial market. As you all know, all we need and all what we want to do in the market is to take advantage of the market. All right. Very simple. We have no more business in the market than to collect money. But at time without number, I've been telling many of us, I said, what matters in this space is that you can take a result out of this with little, with no money. Yeah. Now, many never believe that, or maybe their level of or their belief system is so low to discover that this space is so fantastic that you can make money without no much more commitment of money. Now, I was teaching yesterday and I was telling some persons about the power of leverage in this space. Now you can have so much knowledge in this space and you wouldn't make money. Okay? And you can have some persons who have very little knowledge and they have a lot of money. Okay? Just a moment. So if you ask me very simple, what's actually missing is lack of leverage. You cannot quantify what leverage is all about in financial market or in business generally. Now, because the power of leverage is this. Let me use one practical example about leverage. Those of us who trade market, you trade crypto, especially we trade perpetual, future perpetual and crypto, you trade Forex, you trade synthetic. Now listen, without leverage, you literally will not be able to access the financial market. For instance, now many of us who celebrate the market by many of us celebrate a platform have a high leverage. What you invariably say is that access to more fund with your little fund. Let me use an example. When you are trading, let's say you're trading on a forex market on a broker. Now you said, what is the leverage of that broker? Now they say, okay, it's 1:500. Many of you wouldn't understand. I say 1:500. You have 1:30, 1:50, 1:100, 1:1000, and you have 1:5000. Now listen, what it means is that a retail trader cannot actually participate in the market like that because You're talking of like Forex Market saying 7 point something trillion dollars in 24 hour transaction. So you need volume and with a high speed of frequency to be able to buy a complete, you know, to make money, to make that money, you need big volume of money. And so when you now deposit a $10, or let's say $1 into a broker. So when you deposit $1 into a broker, and that broker is giving you leverage of 1:500. So what you have said is this: the broker have logically given you access to trade transaction worth of $500. So that's the power of leverage. $1 was your capital, but say you can do transaction of $500. Have you seen that? $100 is your capital, $1 is your capital, but the broker gave you leverage and say you can do transaction of $500. Okay, so since it's $500, that is 5x that 500%. All right, now, but this is the point. So let's say, assuming you have $1,000, or let's say you have $100 in that platform. Okay, and then that is to say $100 multiplied by 500. That's $100 in 500. Can you hear that? Because your $1 in 500 will give me 500. So $100 in 500. So that means 100 times 500. So it's going to give you crazy amount of money, okay? Now, that's the advantage you have in leverage. So by the time you go to 500 multiplied by 100, so that means you are doing transaction of $50,000. Now, but this is the challenge. Since it's 5x, 500%, now when the market lost 1%, you have 500% loss. So if you expose the whole $100, it won't get to that point before the whole money is gone. Okay, but on the positive side is what we're exploring, okay? So now let's quickly look at the market so that you understand the power of leverage. I'm telling you right now. If you are in this space and you do not understand the power of leverage, I'm sorry. That's one of the things we take advantage of. So leveraging knowledge, leveraging time, leveraging money, leveraging skills, everything you need to get to level of leveraging. If you are not leveraging, I'm sorry, you are doing yourself a lot of bad. You do yourself bad, not leveraging. Okay? For instance, now we're here. There are a few things I'm going to talk about in the financial market now. You may not accept them, but to an extent, if there are things your spirit align with, you're going to say, okay, well, I think I'm going to do it. Let me use an example. Let's go to two markets now: the crypto market and the stock market. So there were some coins and there was some stock we bought previously, and those stock did well, all right? And some of those coins too did well. Some could pull, okay? Because I was still checking a particular coin today, and I bought more previously, and the market was not favorable, and so that means a loss of money, okay? But understanding the market and diversifying the market give me an edge. So when I lost here, I make here, and so what I make override the loss, and I'm still in big profit. Okay, so that's another power of leverage, diversifying. Now, what I want to bring out is this. What I'm bringing out is this. We explore this market beyond what we think. How do I mean? We explore this market leveraging literally everything in it. So I talk about the crypto market, the stock market. Now, where we now leverage on commodity market, because not everyone will be able to buy into. Okay, not everyone will be able to buy into commodity. Example, commodity like crude oil. So you probably wouldn't have money to set up or get involved in buy and selling of crude oil. even some high agricultural commodities, not everyone will have that money to set up importation and export and all of that. So, but this is the advantage of the financial market. So you are getting involved in buying into the contract of some or fractional level of it, and that what make it possible is that when you go to the capital market. Now, virtually everything you have, all right, virtually every business operation have legs into the capital market. Many wouldn't understand. So companies that run like foreign exchange markets now, like Forex, so there are companies that probably, if they are big enough, they could list their stock, right, in the stock exchange. And so if you cannot trade, you can buy into it. And so stuff like that. Now, so let's quickly look at, in last week, we did a whole lot of things, especially if you're listening to me and you are probably in Nigeria or you are Nigerian, for instance. So before we go into the general market buy and selling, I first of all want to go to the stock because that's one of the massive things that's happening around. But I want to tell us again that we have to be very careful. Right now, we saw what the massive thing that happened, like Nigeria NGS in 2025 grown astronomically up to how many percent? Very massive growth that they said they have not witnessed for the past 18 years. Yeah, I agree with that. But now, so every market has a bubble, okay? Every market has a bubble. So many complain about the bubble in crypto. I say every market has a bubble. So there's always the boom time and, of course, the time for a crash. Now, am I saying the capital market is going to crash? No, I'm not saying that. I'm telling us that don't miss out of the boom. Okay, you can see the recorded boom of last year was massive in local stock, in fact surpassing the foreign index, New York stock and all of that. Yeah, we know it's dollar, but if you look for 1 naira, and then what 1 naira cannot do, maybe $2 should be able to do it, or $4. So you have your $10 or 100 naira or 500, 1,000, 1 million naira, and as like it doesn't have so much value, right? But if you have a place that can add up 50% of it at the end of the year, that makes a lot of sense to you. So that means additional 500,000 is added to your account, more than what you used to have. Now, so let me quickly show us something. Attrition will set up in some stocks. Attrition will set up in some stock in the sense that then some stock will rebalance their balance sheet and now start having steady growth. Let me use one practical example. In fact, last Monday or Tuesday, when I was doing Market Explorer, Global Financial Market Explorer, it's only a few persons that were there anyway, and I scrutinized this ETF called Stambic. I'm not asking you to buy anyway. IBTC. It's an ETF talking about you know capturing, about how many company, 30 just like what you have, US 30, those of us who trade Forex and trade index. So the commodity index of US 30, all right, NAS 100, S&P 500 and all of that. So it's just similar to what we're having. Now, let me show you something quickly. So this guy have gotten to the peak, almost to finish the peak. Let's look at it. So almost to finish the peak. The question we're asking now is that, are we going to break this structure? If we break this structure, that means we're targeting to go up more higher. So that means if care's not taken, please don't put the word in my mouth. That means if care's not taken, this ETF, because maybe it has not even gained more popularity than ought to have gained. So if we're still going to have momentum rise in the stock market this year, that means this guy could do up to 3,000 something naira per shares of this ETF. Now, so if this is going to happen that way, because this is what really happened. When we saw, I think was, as of November, something like that. And I went on weekly time frame, I saw a buying opportunity somewhere here because I went on weekly, because that's a stock market. Now, when I checked, I saw that it did almost 298 on 289% getting to this point. And so we took something like this. I think this is what really happened. Okay, yeah, I think we took something like this. So I just want to show you that when you are not maximizing the opportunity in the financial market, you are missing so much. All right, so much. And you don't need to know everything just for you to take advantage of information. Oh, yeah, I think we have this, and then we now have to bench with this order flow, which was right, not mitigated, and we have this fair value gap. Now, this one did another 89% within how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in less than 2 weeks, this did another 89%. So quickly just pay attention to what I want to show to us. The space we are, you don't need to know too much. Okay, so you do not need to know too much. All you need to have is access to the right information and, of course, pay attention to basic navigating skills. Because if you do not have navigating skills, it's going to cause a problem for you. Now, I just pick out some of the stock. Now, the foreign stock, there was a foreign stock we bought into called RKT. Yeah, those of you who are on the Plan B Express Cash Flow Solution. Now, this RKT, I actually bought into it here because after the pullback. So this stock, I may not have time to do some of those rocket thing and then IT and all of those related thing they did. So when I found an entry here, my target and what I told people to, if they want to sell, those who didn't buy on time, those who bought at $19 or something, and I told them they can sell at 21.18. Now, if you're on the group, you will see that. I know not many persons probably pay attention to it. Now, so buying from here, that should be, this one took a longer time. Yeah, so it took a longer time. So my target was that after the 21, yeah, let's look at it. 21.18, that was the first target I gave to them. Somewhere here. So that means 15% on my own side. So those who didn't buy on time, they were targeting at about 11 to 12%. Now, so now something happened. There was an instruction by the Trump about there's an order, there's a kind of what do they call it, executive order made about something to be bought and all of that. And this company happened to be one of the subsector of that place they were talking about. And so that last week, instead of stopping, we now have an aggressive move, which we're now looking at. We're going to $25. Now, I'm not asking you to buy. No, I'm just telling you that when it comes to this space about taking advantage of information and the mindset of being alone. Now, many of you, if you have been following us, not even those people who are on private mentorship or those of you who just started now with Plan B Express Cash Flow Solution Club. This stock is a local stock. Remember, I said this local stock, so much of it I can remember in 2014. Then when it stayed very having a long time till 2015 was at $15 and all of that, I kept talking about it. Now, even as at the time it got up to $42, I can remember, and I say we're supposed to have a pullback, and the pullback came back to $35, 35 naira, sorry. And just last week, we bounced aggressively to 73 naira. Now, listen, my target was that, okay, over time, this stock a potential that will go to $100. But I was shocked. Now, some who bought early, I've been able to do 300 to 350, 400%. Now, that is capital market. Are we still going to have such growth this year? Possibly yes. But there are a lot of policies and all of that. Possibly yes, both local and international. But the challenge is this: if you look at so many, things happening now, there seems to be tension across, stuff like, certain policies, change of these policies and all of that. So many events are coming up that could perhaps, spread attention to another thing beyond another thing. And so I probably will not talk this to us, some of those events that are happening now in the world. And that could bring a lot of money to a certain sector. And if you know and understand some of those sectors, you will make a lot of money. Just like when we say if you are investing in capital market, you want to invest in blue chip for strength and consolidation where you are not going to be panicking, and then you want to invest in dividend based stocks so that you can have some money that you are getting. And that's why some invest in fixed income platforms like a treasury bill, like mutual fund, and all of those things. Then you want to invest in penny stock. Now, if you ask me, when I was telling people to buy some of those stock, 15 naira, 9 naira, they were penny stock. And in fact, in Nigeria, whatever, anything less than 100 naira should be like a penny stock. So, not like some of these stock that have gone to, up to 1,000 naira and all of that. You can't, with Nigerian currency, you can't call any stock that is at 100 or 1,000 naira to become a penny stock. How many volume are you going to buy? Okay, so now this is what I'm just trying to show us. Maybe some of you who like to buy stock, part of the stock I still gave last, was it last month or the beginning of this month, was Jay's Bank. Yeah, it was Jay's Bank. And it has been consolidating, breakout again. So maybe at a point again, maybe we'll have some consolidation again before a breakout and all of that. So that could be another opportunity. So I'm just trying to let us know, to be level-headed in terms of leveraging in opportunity, like, so there's so many penny stock like we bought. I remember some of the stock I bought at 1 naira, 2 naira, and all of that. Some of them are 5 naira right now. That means they have done 100 or to 150%, as it were. All right. And what other thing? So there are so many things you want to spread your tentacles into. So probably I may not be able to finish all of them here. So the stock market, I think, is still promising that you can say you want to spread your tentacles into. I think I talked about custodian at a point. There were some stocks. Okay. Yeah, so this 44 naira. So I think there were other stocks that were lesser than that. Now, is it still good to buy Wima Bank? Why not? It has not finished its full potentials and all of that. Okay. Seriously, there are code I will tell people. I said, if you know what stock market is for you, is beyond just like I'm making money. I call it collecting from a particular segment. This stock sat down at 5 naira, 2 naira for a very long time, at a point when it gravitated to 7 naira and was struggling around that point. I was telling some persons to buy. Yeah, until we arose back up to yeah, so at about 11 naira. In fact, that was like a breakthrough, and that had been a consistent rise in this stock. So massive pullback from 25 naira, I think, for a while. Yeah, that was around July or something. Then we returned back to about 16 naira, 16 naira, yes. And then that was another move. So is it bad to still look for a way to get Wima? Not too bad, but you have to be careful because I think it still have very, very strong momentum. It's one of the high performing stock, banking stock in Nigeria stock exchange 2025 and all of that. Okay, and all of that. So let's quickly look at the market. What can we do? So now, investing in the capital market is a very lovely thing if you know what you are doing, if you know what you're looking for. Does that make sense? Good. So now I'm going to look at these guys. Okay, so this is DXY. Many of us who have been following us, you know that DXY have been struggling for quite a long time. And then we said it may not still make it over time. So what are we looking at this week for DXY, which is the opposite, okay? Which is the opposite of Euro USD. If we can get rejected of this other block, then that means we continue selling down. But if we can maintain some momentum to break above it, then this is the place we are going to be rejected again. All right, you can see different rejection. If we are not rejected over time, but before that, you want to look at what should I do. So if this rejection work out, that means your Euro USD that had gotten to a point like what do we call it? It's already at a point of reversal, right? That's a bounce. Then that will make a lot of sense. And look at what I'm saying. So Euro USD, I'm on daily time frame. So Euro USD, you are probably looking at this complete order flow, for instance, here, and then narrow down to this other block. So are we going to have a bounce here tomorrow when market open? It all depends on the play that will be displayed by DXY. But tentatively, you're expecting to have maybe a bounce back from here and probably a rejection at this my line here. So, but before then, you will have done a lot of money. I don't want to go to 4 hours, but just understand that potentially you should be looking for buying. Which one I was checking? Oh my word. I can't remember. Sorry, just a moment. I need to bring up something. Sorry. So that means I should be thinking of how Euro USD are taking a bounce. All right. Where is this? My word. Okay. I probably will check it thereafter. So I should be looking for a buy opportunity for Euro USD this week. And then if all things being equal, and if this guy is going to be rejected here, okay, then if it's going to be rejected here, so before traveling back to this my line, that will have given a good buy opportunity for us on Euro USD. And that's one of the things. So anything you have on Euro USD, so you should have the correlation on GBP USD. But this time around, there's a little kind of divergence on them. And so you can see that you probably continue moving up because after sweep of this high, then we're coming down to this point and all of that. So that means it's a bit delicate for GBP USD trying to have a divergence away from Euro USD. Okay, so let's quickly look at gold. This is the most lovely aspect of our trading. Now, listen, if you write it down, if you have been in our community, I think it was 2023. Many of you bear me witness right now. I told some of us that I want you to go and look for an account in your forex trading and open 0.01 when the price of gold, listen to me, when the price of gold was at 1,800 and something. Look at the point when I was telling people to buy gold and hold it. Here. Now, so there are so many factors. So we all tell people to look at the market in a wider perspective. Here. This is an entry. This is an entry. Right? This is another entry. This is another entry. Now, at a point here, it's as if we're going to now have a total reverse after a swing point here. Now, let me tell you why. If care is not taken from now till 2028, 2029, you may have gold getting up to $10,000 in price. Because that means almost halfway gone. Then when I was telling people about gold to go to $2,400, $500, and I say, and if we break it, then the journey continue. And that was the same perspective. So imagine for anyone who had used even 0.01 at that $1,806. I remember $1,806. So imagine what could have happened. That was in 2023. I won't forget. Okay. So now, what are we looking at in gold? Gold will still buy. Yes, gold will still buy. Of course, we have told you about the fundamental responsible for all of those things. Gold will still buy because if we're going to have a crash, we ought to have it here, but unfortunately, we broke it. And so we just have little mild resistance that may be cleared off in this market opening. Let's go here. So we're just pending to clear off from this high, and then we shoot up. And remember, you know that when we clear off, it all depends again to what extent are we going to jump. So, ladies and gentlemen, though we have a lot of gap below that gold supposed to come and fill, we have it backward too. So that means tonight, when market opens, I want to find a market that probably we open and close a little down, then break out this point, then you want to be buying more. If you're on lower time frame, you will have find an entry. There's no doubt about that. Okay? So that's one of the things you have to pay attention on. So for bullish, we're still bullish. Are we still going to go up? Absolutely fine. We're still going to go up. So don't take it. We are still going to go up. There's so many factors, and of course, the kind of aggressive growth that happened in gold had some effect on Bitcoin. So, like I said, Bitcoin, that $126,000 may still seem to be the temporary all-time high. If we may not get there again before it continue crashing. So, but this year on Bitcoin is supposed to be a super cycle for other coins. But if Bitcoin could not, if you cannot make good volume, then it may not be so attractive for us to see people who will FOMO into the market and all of that. Okay? So that means Bitcoin could be dancing around 99, 100, 104 for a long time without touching right down or touching up as much as possible. So, but is it a good thing? Is it a good asset to acquire? Why not? If you know what you're doing per time, it's a good asset to acquire. So you are looking at, okay, in the next how many years when Bitcoin will be $500,000? The question you ask yourself is that how many of the Satoshi do I have? Okay, so if Bitcoin is going to reach like $500,000 or $1 million, I don't know how many years it will take. Let's say 2030 or 2040, and then you have that. So these are the things we tell people when it comes to this market. You have to be mentored to have partitioning and strategy of taking your trade. So for gold, discontinue. So if you have a move up, by the time you're lower time frame, you can find appropriate entry. Maybe if you're even on 4 hours, 1 hour, you can find appropriate entry, and of course targeting the spot. Okay, so that for gold, we're still bullish. Bitcoin is struggling. Yeah, I had okay. Bitcoin is struggling. Let me check something quickly. So Bitcoin is in between two regions where we have some liquidation above and below. Sorry. So because of that, Bitcoin is poised to probably come back to maybe, let's look at it. Oh my word. Back to 88,200 or even back to 87,850 region. So that means Bitcoin will perhaps still crash before you buy. That's what it means. So I think I was telling some person, so this, you see this region, right? So either this 88,500 or so, or 600, then 87,000 region. So His boils are still returning back down here before you have a move up, as it were, for Bitcoin. But when one is checking, you have to check too on the other time frame, 4 hours and 15 minutes, but 4 hours and 1 hour. So Bitcoin more crash before a bounce makes sense. Now, this is more reason why when you say when you're trading futures, you don't use high leverage, so that if the market impacted negatively against your focus trend, then you can still manage your trade and be fine. So Bitcoin is poised to push down before a push up. Okay, so and that's one of the things. So whatever happened to Bitcoin, you expect that's going to be reflecting on other cryptos, except for exceptional cases that you can have a market running its own parallel move against whatever Bitcoin may be doing. Okay, so that means we're looking, I would say Euro USD should be looking for buy and all. Let's go here. So that means gold to bullish bias, finding a trade eventually. There was something I was looking for here. Okay. Well, I think so far that's what we have. So I've told about the stock. There's a need for you to fine tune your activities to be able to absorb into buying in some stock and all the like. Then trading. Now, you don't need to trade like other trades. So some will say, I take 5 trades a day. It's not compulsory, because these are the things that drive us, and then we blow the account that we're supposed to be meticulously building. Trading is mechanical and trading is boring, because you're going to be repeating a particular action over and again, and that's how trading is. If trading is not yet boring, then you've not started. So you don't need to compete with anybody. Okay, you take it one step at a time. You discover that in no time, then you are done with your expected goal and all of that. So that's what brings me to people who are trading profit. I've sampled a lot of good number of people lost their account and profit because we're carried away by, oh, I just registered for a profit. So any money that come out of it, that's what I will use in pay my children's school fees or pay my house rent and all of that. So because of that, you make silly mistake. All right. So you have to take it one step at a time and then be able to build up. Okay, so I think I need to check what other things do I promise to give. Okay. Okay, some coins that you're supposed to be buying. Well, I think you just need to see the movement of Bitcoin first, um, so that you can see some coins to buy. Because if you look at it now, some of those coins will be dropping for the movement of Bitcoin. Look at Solana. There's a coin. So look at Solana. So you have to be very careful. Many of them can push back first as Bitcoin will move down. So that's why you need to be careful. I probably will not be able to give any coin right now because the movement is still going to crash. And if you buy a coin, they go against you for the first time, that can be very discouraging. Okay. What other things do I want to do here? It's okay. Just a moment. Okay, so let's go to risky trading coin. Let's go to risky trading. So we're going to risky trading. Mm-hmm. We'll go to risky trading. So that's do with crypto meme coins. Hmm. This coin that have gone a very massive profit for me, but I was targeting it for gone to 30 million cap, and it went to 25, almost 26 million cap without delivering, and then the market returned back. So let me just quickly show us that. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go. Okay. Okay, so this token actually bought and sold and bought more eventually. And then the one I bought more is just there. And I was targeting that when it get to 30 million. Because if you look, I think I got some here when no when I think when it was 3 or 5 million region or something. Okay. And then here we go. Then this is a massive sell-off, but seems to have a support at this region. But we need to break. Okay. So without breaking, without breaking this high, then it's very, very risky where we are right now. Then we could crash down or empty and all of that. So this environment is quite risky because the meme coins, now coins that do not really have any use cases, but they just create narrative around them. And so people build up from there and make money. White dog. Come. Was it white dog? Which other one the other day? Okay, so it's about creating a context, okay, and then build up from all of those tokens. These tokens can be very fragile, so I always say put the money that's not too much and can afford to lose in your trust wallet. Sorry, phantom wallet. Then you can easily buy some and sell, and then that's going to build up some portfolio level. Okay, you can see this guy. So if you look at it from here now, that's about 400% plus. Okay, so we should understand that this space, I hope, it was we interrupted to an extent. Sorry about that. So sorry about that. So I was just telling us about the risk involved in this meme token trading. And so what I do is that you take a little money into your Phantom wallet. I think Phantom wallet and of course some BNB, because some BNB token now do well, or some platform now, you know, list make their token available on BNB, Binance chain, and all of that. So here is not a place of guarantee, except some of those tokens that if they are already well and then the hype continue and they have finished, we call them layer one, layer two. One of its kind, one of its kind that had helped so much. Uh, I'm sure now is having a nosediving. Was these white whales, right? A lot make crazy money on it, but you can see that. Let me go on daily time frame. You see, right? So that was, you can see that was an old coin, but there was a hype that came up, and then we have this massive rally. So you expect the correction because they have people start setting up copycats for it. So that means if it's going to come down to this point, and the developers and all the people behind are still pushing, then that means that will now be your next entry point. So when the things will come down to 70 something to 60 million, so if it does that and the momentum of the community developers are still there, then you are going to have another buying. But do remember that this is a competitive environment, new coins, hype around those tokens make attention of investors to buy into them, and then the money keep growing about in that region, and then you probably just hold on. So we don't hold it on in this way. When the coin have done some good profit, even if you are not selling all, you are taking part of your money and I allow it to run. Okay. So what do I need to trade this environment? Like Phantom Wallet, or some of us use a Telegram bot called Trojan Bot. We have it on our group. And the advantage of those bots is that you can set limit order and the market continue when you get there, sell for you. And so they are very good if you know what you are doing, but you don't just fix all your money into it or face it as the major thing you are doing. It can be very risky. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's tonight what we have. By tomorrow, we're doing the Financial Market Explorer, talking about investment diversification. Those of you who are on the Plan B Express Cash Flow Solution Club, you are expected to be doing and maximize everything. Now, this is Sunday, and if you have not connected your account on all of those automation, I think this is the best time to do them because market will soon open and trade continue. And so, if anyone you want to do now, I will advise you do that as fast as possible, and then spreading your tentacles to other things and all of that. So then the 40% discount was already over. So it was over 11:59 p.m. yesterday, entering Sunday, and that was over already. So everything go back to the normal price now. And those of you who are not working to build yourself up in trading and applying the right strategy, well, you are missing a lot because it's not about the complexity of your strategy. It's about the simplicity of it and workability of being able to be repeating your strategy as much as possible. Then, by the grace of God, we're kicking off activities fully. Those of you in Port Harcourt, we're kicking off activities this week. You can go to our office, make inquiry, work out your modality and all of that. So we have spread our tentacles and diversification so much that you're able to build up yourself to work on your passive income opportunity and spread into it, buy into local international stock, and then buy all of those your region as building up as much as possible. All right. So thank you very much, and you have a nice rest. Good night.